What's up, guys? Austin here with ATK Outdoors. Today, I'm going to talk to you about January bass fishing in Northwest Washington. So this month, we had quite a bit warmer weather than we've had in previous years. Water temp was low 40, 42 to 46, which I thought was going to push the fish a lot shallower than they actually were. I started every day starting in about 20 feet, 20 to 30 feet of water, with little success there. I ended up catching one largemouth as a bonus fish, and then eventually moving out deeper into about 40 to 50 feet. And for catching those fish out there, I mainly was using the Dirty Jigs guppy head with an underspin, and I've got that with a Megabass Hazadong shad in the disco stain color 4.2 size. I fish that a lot like most people would fish a jig, just slowly dragging it on the bottom. It's really effective. I mean, all year long. I fish that literally 12 months a year and have very good success with that. I'm throwing that on the Fenwick Tekna PX. This one specifically is a 7-foot medium, fast action. I have absolutely fallen in love with this rod for throwing my little swim baits. I mainly throw the Keitech 3-inch and Easy Shiner green pumpkin, but I'll switch it up every now and then between that Megabass and the Swing Impact Fats in Copperfield, the 3.3-inch size. I really enjoyed all three of those baits, but I mainly focus on the 3-inch Easy Shiner. The next bait is the Keitech Finesse Football Jig. And I'm throwing, it's a 1/2 ounce head with, it's purple and brown with the Reaction Innovations Smalley Beaver, and I believe that's the stained grass color. That's pretty much the only color that I use for these little Keitech Finesse jigs. The rod that I was throwing that on is the Shimano X-Bride in 7.2 medium light. It's made specifically for the BFS reel. I've really enjoyed that rod and reel combo. It originally was my little swim bait rod, but there was some things I wasn't the most happy with about it for that kind of application, mainly just that BFS reel doesn't hold enough line. So I switched over to that Tekna, and I've never looked back. That's a great setup. Another bait that I was finding success with was the Damiki Vault blade bait. I'm not too sure on the size of that, but just making extra long casts with that and just slowly lifting the rod, and all of a sudden you'll just feel it load up and you got one. And all three of those baits are my main staple for pretty much from December all the way through February, early March. I'll still be throwing those. I'll speed up or slow down depending on water temperature or how the fish are reacting to them. But some baits I didn't get to throw very much for the month of January were drop shots and Ned rigs. The more stereotypical wintertime stuff. I was just having such good luck with the underspin finesse swim bait and that finesse jig from Keitech that I never got around to throwing the drop shot or the Ned rig, or at least catching fish on them. The drop shot, I really like throwing. I like to keep the leader under 12 inches. Those fish in the wintertime hold extremely close to the bottom. So I feel like I want that bait as close to the bottom as I can get it without, I mean, it's a drop shot. So you don't want to be in the rocks, but you want it just enough. You want it close enough to the bottom where it's not too much for that fish to come up and eat it. And then the Ned rig, I've been really playing around with the Googan Baits Rattling Ned. I've been throwing that in the peanut butter and jelly, PB&J color, and just dragging that along all through the same stuff. I really focus, in January, I really focus on that offshore rock. There's not too much in the lake that I mainly fish for the month of January. There's not too much offshore grass, and the smallmouth are just so much more predictable than the largemouth in that lake that it's cold. I just want to get bit. I want to catch a couple fish, have a good time. I'm not out there to try and find the biggest bass in the lake. I'm just trying to be productive and have fun. That's all. Mainly in February, one of our lakes opens up from being closed down for duck season. So I'll really start focusing up there. That's a dirty, shallow lake with lots of grass, lots of reeds. It's a largemouth only lake. So when I go there, I'll really be focusing on some like the Huddleston 68, and I'll start rotating in chatterbaits later on through the month. My favorite chatterbaits are the Z-Man jackhammer in the 3/8 and the half ounce, depending on how tall the grass is there. If it's pretty grown up, then I'll stick with the 3/8 just to stay out of the grass as much as possible. If not, I'll go with that half ounce, or I'll throw the half ounce through the emerging lily pad stems just to get that reaction bite. My favorite trailers for the jackhammer are by far the Yamamoto Seiko and the Hog Farmer Spunk Shad in the 5.5 inch size. And I just stick with, for the Spunk Shad, I use the Green Pumpkin Magic. And I'm not too sure on the Seiko colors. I can link that or show a picture of them here. I'll also start throwing the big blade chatterbait, and I've had really good luck with that in the late winter, early spring. I think that big blade really helps keep that bait up, and then in that dirty water condition, it's so much thump. I mean, you can feel it through the rod. That thing gets bit. It's slowly becoming one of my more producing baits. I don't know if it's just because less people are throwing it, or it's just something different about it. With the big blade, I'll step up to I believe it's a 6.5 inch Spunk Shad, just to match. I mean, the presentation of all of it, I feel like it's quite a bit bigger than the normal jackhammer. I'll throw pretty much mainly all natural colors, bluegill. I try and stick with bluegill and perch patterns. But once that water temp is getting into that 50-degree range, high 40s, like 48, I'll start throwing this, and pretty much all the way through the 50s is a fire craw. That fire craw is, if you haven't been throwing that in this early spring, it is, I mean, some of the best days I've ever had on the water have been throwing that fire craw chatterbait. I mean, just catching nice 3, 4, 5 pound fish, and multiple of them throughout the day. And in that lake specifically, they'll start pushing real shallow in February. I mean, a foot a foot or less, they'll push up in there. And as far as smallmouth fishing goes, I'll start the month of February out fishing in that same 40, 50 foot range. And I'll slowly, as the month goes on and as I'm getting less bites out deep, I'll start pushing up shallower into that 30, 20 range, fishing the same little swim baits, finesse swim baits on the bottom or just off a bottom. I'll start rotating in a jerk bait a little more, and just the normal transition stuff for those fish to start transitioning into the more springtime pattern pre-spawn stuff. Really focusing on ledges, anywhere that it goes. Anywhere you got deep water that comes up to shallow, fish will really start moving in on those points and all just the basic stuff.